Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're talking about the British countryside look. Now, I grew up in the countryside when I was 10 years of age I became aware of the way people dressed in the countryside. My grandfather and father, they never wore jeans in their entire lives, and for work they would wear their old trousers and suit trousers whilst working in the fields. Now, my grandfather retired when he was about 70 from hard work in the fields, ploughing and hoeing. But there were farmers in the area that would actually, well, they thought they were a little bit more than they were, let's just say. They thought that they were the local squire, and they would dress up according to what they thought that dress code was in the day. So, for example, it wasn't uncommon to see somebody wearing this sort of outfit, almost like a uniform, if you like, typical of the day, where they'd wear a tweed or a houndstooth jacket, a jumper, a tie, white collar because they considered themselves to be gentlemen farmers. They'd wear the obligatory corduroy trousers and brown brogue shoes, which were sturdy enough for walking around the farmyard in and around the fields. Now, obviously, if they were in the horse scene, and then they would change those corduroy trousers and those brogue shoes for a pair of jumpers and a pair of riding boots. And of course, in those days, there was no safety helmets. It was actually a cloth cap. That was all the protection you needed in those days. Yeah, and I recall many times when I was younger that a friend of mine was very much into the horse scene. He was a show jumper, was in the local hunt, and used to ride past the house most mornings. He'd be out on the horse for about 5 or 6 hours a day. He'd come by and he'd get me and sit me in the saddle, and I'd ride the horse around, and he would typically wear this sort of look. Now, I know we're talking about historically here, but it's still a good look, and in a way it's not dissimilar to the sort of things we wear still to this day. And whilst it suits maybe an older gentleman, if you change the look of the actual jacket, you know, the cut of the jacket, taper in the trousers, it's still quite a good look in a younger man. And anybody that knows the boxer Chris Eubank, senior, he would very often wear this sort of look, and with a walking stick and a monocle, which is very cool in its day. No one was going to argue with him either, I can assure you. But we could change this look. We could change it for a tweed jacket rather than the houndstooth. We can have a more relaxed look. We wear chinos nowadays rather than corduroy trousers, but either way it's still quite a good look, I think, and quite a historical look, I admit that. But if you take certain elements of that, for example, change the colour of the tie, maybe not wear a jumper with it, change the colour of the shirt, don't wear a tie. There are a number of different looks that derive from this that are still very good looks even to this day. yes, I think quite a good look overall. And this reminds me of my youth, and whilst I don't necessarily dress this way particularly, I wouldn't be embarrassed to dress like this when I'm out and about. It's certainly not in the countryside, where it's still quite typical to see people dressed like this, and it's not uncommon to see them wearing a trilby hat or a cap, a flat cap for example, and still see this sort of look in the horse environment as well. So this is more of an autumn look. Obviously we'd wear a jumper because it's a little bit cool. Not dissimilar to spring really, conditions where you'd see something very similar being worn. Need a jumper maybe under a jacket just to take the nip out of the air, as it were. Obviously in the winter though we'd need to wear something a little bit more hardy, and it's not uncommon with the wax jacket over the outer shell as such to this look. Would be probably more appropriate in the winter months. And brown leather gloves as well to go with the brown brogues. Obviously in the summer months though, gets a little bit too hot, so maybe we'd change that for something similar to this, where you might wear a waistcoat over a shirt, pair of trousers, maybe cavalry twill, something like that. Maybe a hat of some description, flat cap, or in this case a trilby, and pair of shoes, either brown brogues or light tan brogues in the summer months. That's the typical sort of look that you would have seen in the day. Maybe with a tie, but normally in the summer tends to be without a tie, just because it's so hot in the summer months. But yeah, different variations on the look. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. We love constructive comments, so if you'd like to jot them down below, then we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. We'd like to know, do you still wear something like this, or do you aspire to wear something like this? What's your opinion on the look? Until next time, take care.